Hey, what's going on guys? It's your boy, I Read Reddit, back at it again with more Entitled Parent stories. Now throw a shrimp on the barbie and get ready to go. This is gonna be a great episode. Our first story was posted by user Kittenscute, titled, Entitled Mum Singles Buddy and I Out on Train Just Because We're in Uniform. For some background, I'm Singaporean and we have mandatory conscription, called national service, for males at roughly the age of adulthood. A sizable vocal minority of the population treats conscripts and conscription like it's a national hazing activity. They call it a rite of passage to adulthood or some propagandist crap like that. And a number of the old generation people love to wax lyrical about how it was so much tougher back then and take potshots at how the strawberry generation have it easy today. So, 8 years ago, I was serving my national service time fresh out of college and undergoing boot camp, specially for those who didn't pass certain fitness tests. So after the initial confinement period, a lot of us were just pretty much physically and mentally exhausted. For me, the whole trip back home was about 2 hours, including the ferry, shuttle bus, train, and the 10-minute walk home. And the train had plenty of seats at the time, so our group sat down and most of us, including myself, took the opportunity to take a nap. Halfway through my nap, I was rudely shaken awake by an entitled mother who was holding onto a boy roughly 8 to 10 years old, and while I was rubbing the sleep out of my eyes, she was going on and on in broken Mandarin about how soldiers nowadays have no manners, while accusing my buddy, the poor guy who has the longest train journey, and me for pretending to be asleep instead of making way for a mother and her son. Instead of escalating, we got up without a word and made room for the both of them to sit. Immediately after that, the entitled mother and her kids sat down, and she started making a lot of sarcastic remarks, like, "Aiya, bu gong yuan," which basically translates to, "Wow, so reluctant to get off the seats, of course," and how the younger generation no longer understands the concept of respecting their elders. Thankfully, my stop was up soon, and my buddy had to switch trains at the same stop, so we didn't have to tolerate her any longer. The entitled mother was obviously the type of shrew who can't live and let live, so right as we were about to alight, she ended her tirade threatening to call the military police on us. Naturally, we rolled our eyes and went about our way. P.S. This incident is just one of many unpleasant experiences fellow conscripts go through on a regular basis, and both of us were actually lucky enough not to have our mug posted on social media. Even after my 2 years as a conscript, I still regularly watch as D-bags with nothing better to do take photos and videos of conscripts misbehaving in public and uploading it to local social media and news sites. Examples include wearing a pair of headphones listening to music in public transport, sleeping on public transport, sleeping on public transport while standing up, not wearing our headdress while walking in the open. Technically we're supposed to keep it on, but it's frankly so trivial that most people don't. Plus, Singapore is really hot. Talking on public transport. And it's not like it's very quiet with all the chatter of the general public anyway. And many other examples. Our next story was posted by user Sjkxism, titled, Entitled Parent Thinks My Mum is Stalking Her. The cast in this episode are the entitled parents, me, who's that one guy sitting next to my mum, my mother, the entitled kid, who's kind of irrelevant as he only says 1 to 2 things, and the employee. So for some backstory, I went to Red, obviously made up for location reasons, for Easter, and my mum wanted to go out to eat before we started making the confetti eggs. I'm going to assume that Red means Russia. We were at the restaurant, and my mum gets a call from her job. She's the manager, and tells the drivers what to do and where to go. And an employee was telling her that someone didn't pay to park and for the drivers to go pick it up, so my mum starts to check the cameras, and yes, she has access, and enter entitled parent. The entitled parent says, "Excuse me, why are you doing that?" Doing what? Stalking everyone in the parking lot. I live in Blue, China, and nowhere near the restaurant parking lot. My mum says, "I'm sorry, can you repeat that?"
I said stop stalking me.
At this point, the employee enters and says, "What's the problem here, ma'am?"
This woman is stalking me and my child.
The employee looks at my mum and goes, "Ma'am, what does she mean by this?" My mum says, "She must be confused. I was looking at the cameras for my job."
She's lying. She's looking at the cameras outside. She obviously has her son hack them.
Now, I'm a 15-year-old that's failing and in no way look anywhere near as smart. I don't even know the first step of hacking to anything, lady. My mum goes, "Sir, I work for a tow truck company and the parking lot she's talking about is located in blue." So the employee says, "Ma'am, can you please go back to your seat?"
Mom, can we leave? I'm not even hungry anymore. No!
My mum suggests we leave. "Come on, kids, we're leaving."
No, I'm calling the police and having you arrested for stalking me.
We leave, and the waiter says that the meal is on the house. We could still hear the entitled parent talking some bullcrap, but that was the end of it. No crazy arrest or anything. We were, in fact, trying to avoid any sort of police involvement. Our next story is posted by ohiostatebro, titled, "Entitled Mother Tries to Steal Carnival Prize, Gets Tased While Being Escorted Out of the Park." Our cast is fairly long. We have entitled mother, chilled dad, entitled son, 9 years old, security guard, dad, sister, 8 years old, and me, 13 years old. Okay, so this happened about 3 years ago, so I don't remember all the details, but here we go. So my sister had wanted one of the giant Squirtle stuffed animals, but could only get it by winning the milk bottle game. Every time we passed the game, she would beg my dad to let her try. It was about $3 for 2 balls, and $5 for 4 balls. So my dad spent about $25 in total before my dad finally won the toy for her. After getting the toy, she said it was one of the happiest days of her life. Cue entitled son. The entitled son goes up to my sister, and it goes down something like this.
That's a cool toy. Thanks, I just got it. Actually, I've wanted that Squirtle for a while.
At this point, I was hoping he would do what I thought he would. "Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Can I please have it?"
But he did. "Sorry, no, I just got it and I really like it."
"Oh, okay."
So we were waiting there for my mother to come back from the bathroom, as there was a terribly long line. The entitled son came back about 5 minutes later with his mother, and the encounter went down something like this.
"Why did you take my son's toy?"
"Ma'am, what are you talking about?"
"My son said he just won that toy and your daughter stole it."
She was yelling at my sister more than anything, so this caused her to cry. "Your son was lying then. I just won this for my daughter."
"No, I left my son with $10 while I went to the bathroom, and he said he won that blue turtle." "Mommy, he was the one who took it from my hands."
He then points at me, and the entitled mum turns towards me and starts yelling,
"How dare you, you little crap! I could have you put in juvie."
"Look, lady, my dad won the prize for my sister, and your son came up to ask us and asked her if she could have it." At this point, people sitting on the other benches were looking at us.
"My husband's a police officer and will get you arrested for thievery."
"Lady, your son's lying. My dad won this fair and square, and your child didn't." At this point, the entitled mother tries to grab the toy, and they go, "Stop, this is my sister's toy."
"Nonsense, I'm getting security immediately."
We talked to the people sitting on the bench next to ours, and they said they saw the kid ask for her toy and how she tried to take it. The entitled mum came back with the entitled son, the cool dad, and the security guard.
"This is the thief right here."
"Honey, please, just forget about it. He probably didn't even steal it. This lady just told me you stole her son's toy and wants you kicked out of the park." We tell the security guard what really happened, and the people next to us back us up. The security guard goes back to check the cameras and finds out that what we said was actually true. The security guard then proceeds to escort the entitled mum, the entitled son, and the cool dad out of the park. The entitled mother starts screaming at all of us,
"Freak all of you! You guys are all pieces of crap, and I hope all of you die."
The entitled mum tried running back to us to get the toy, so she slapped the security guard. When she ran to come to take the toy, she got tased a few seconds later. All of her family was banned from the park, and the security guard apologized for what had happened. We ran into the cool dad about a year later, and he said that he got a divorce because the entitled mother had severe anger issues, and that she was verbally abusive towards the entitled son. We had won custody of their son, and the entitled mother is now in anger management, and could only see their son on weekends. Overall, the entitled mother got what she deserved, and our entire family was happy with the outcome of the situation. Our next story was posted by user thattexaskid, titled, Entitled Mother Demands ID and That I Leave the Mall. Reposting this since the first post got deleted, probably because my karma's low. I'm on mobile, so sorry in advance for the formatting. This story happened to me this past Friday, and although it's not nearly as extreme as some of the other posts on here, I felt it was appropriate for this subreddit. To preface, I'm 19 years old and am a pre-law student in college. I normally have a beard, which makes me look like in my early to mid-20s. However, due to a trimming mishap, I had to shave it, revealing my baby face, and I suddenly looked 16 again. I went home for the weekend last Friday, not having any classes that day, and before I got back to my house, I decided to stop at the mall to buy a birthday gift for my dad and maybe grab a bite of lunch. It's about 12:30 in the afternoon, and I'm just walking all around the mall, minding my own business, and suddenly, she appeared, storming towards me. The entitled mother, Karen, destroyer of worlds, eater of souls, with her kid. He must have only been about 8 or 9 years old, trailing behind her. The entitled mother is named Entitled Mum in this story, and K is the kid. He was fine though. And me is, well, me. Is there a problem, ma'am? I'm going to need to see 2 pieces of identification right now. Excuse me? I'm tired of stupid teenagers like you running around here like you own the place. This mall is for families. To be fair, it is more of a family-oriented mall. Your antics are corrupting my son. Show me 2 pieces of identification now, or I'm calling the police on you for skipping class. Ma'am, I'm sorry for the confusion, but I'm an adult and I'm home from college. That only seemed to agitate her further. You're lying. I know you are. People like you don't go to college. Don't you see you're agitating my son? ID now. Her son appeared far more interested in the nearby Lego store than this conversation. I suppose you're going to want to see my routing number and social security card next. I owe you nothing. Plus, shouldn't your son be the one who's in school? The entitled mother let out an inhuman shriek, probably something along the lines of Mr. Reddit's "Ree." You dare think I would let them teach my son? My kid is homeschooled and probably unvaccinated. At this point, I'm tired from my 3-hour drive to the mall and utterly done with the conversation. Plus, I still need to get a present for my dad. Look, lady, I'm done with this conversation. I'm sorry that my existence disturbed you, so have a nice day. I walked away and down the stairs of the mall. She continued shrieking after me for a few seconds before stopping. I assumed that she noticed that people were staring at her or something. Not exactly explosive, but certainly annoying. Time to grow the beard back, I say. And I agree, beards are manly as hell. You get that, beard boy? Our next story was posted by user Demolitionlady, titled, Karen Kicks Little Girl in the Face. My god, that's a rare sentence. But powerful. So, I got my first retail job when I was 13, and now I'm 23, so I have a lot of entitled parent stories. But this is one of the worst ones. Sorry for my poor language, English is not my first language. So, I was working at a hotel from when I was 15 till I was 18 years old, and I loved the job there. I was in charge of the disco for the kids staying at the hotel. so lots of dancing with kids aged 2 to 11, face painting, and walking inside a big mascot costume. The mascot was incredibly cute, but the costume was giant, and it was impossible to see anything in, and you weren't allowed to talk. Everything that was under a meter in height was out of my sight range in the costume. So whenever we were going around in one, someone had to follow us for several reasons. The person walking around with us basically had to be our voice and eyes because we could walk into stuff. And kids. Oopsies! The children could of course ask us questions. And last and most importantly, someone had to deal with the entitled parents in the hotel. And I promise you, there was no shortage of those. Now, a lot of entitled parents never understood that the other kids, and not just their own, wanted to give hugs to the mascot. So we had parents pushing kids out of the way, yelling at kids to let their kids go first, and even lifting their kids over the crowd so that they didn't have to wait. We could have 200 kids at the same time in the restaurant sometimes. So yeah, it could be difficult if people didn't respect each other. And as we all know, following this subreddit, not everybody does. Now, enter the entitled parents, Karen, devourer of logic. A real, genuine, can I speak to the manager Karen. She and her family came to the hotel fairly often, and she would always do something stupid and act entitled. In fact, the bloody year before, she chased a bunch of kids out of the bouncy house, just so her kids could have it all to themselves. So, we knew to watch out for her. This day there was a conference and a holiday, so the restaurant was packed and the mascot could in no way go through there. So we made a line for the kids who wanted hugsies. And, a line? The entitled parent was having none of that for her precious little angels. I was saying hello to a kid in a wheelchair, so that took some time, and the entitled parent went straight to the kid and parent who were first in line. I was in the mascot uniform, but I could clearly hear Karen's nasal voice. Perfect for me. You guys like that, right?
Hello, my family and I are in the middle of dinner and we want to say hello to mascot as quickly as possible, so we have to go in front of you.
The little girl's dad said clearly, "We are in the middle of dinner too, and we were here first. Sorry, but your kids have to wait in line like everyone else."
That won't do. Come here, entitled kid, and say hello to the nice mascot.
She was also trying to get past the kid in the wheelchair now. The dad said, "You are not allowed to just go past everyone else. Be an example to your kid and learn some manners." Ouch. I knew the entitled parent enough to know that this would be a situation, and I squeezed my companion's arm and she stepped in. "Sorry, but you have to go to the back of the line. Everyone here needs to do that now." Karen got angry real fast.
You do not talk to me like that. You...
Let's say she called her a female dog for the younger readers. She then kept arguing with my companion and some other parents, and kept getting more loud. The manager, of course, heard her and ran over. "You need to get out of the restaurant now!" Karen refused, of course, and the manager strictly, but firmly took a hold of her arm and said, "Please come out with me for a while." Karen started screaming at her, and a waiter came and took her other arm, and they were ready to take her out of the restaurant and away from the kiddos. When the manager and waiter started to move Karen, she went apecrap and started kicking, and actually kicked the young girl in the wheelchair in the face. The dad of the young girl was quite a big fella, and of course he almost attacked Karen, devourer of souls, but gladly he took care of his daughter first and foremost, thank God. She had a broken nose, Jesus Christ. The young girl's mum came over and took care of the young girl, and the dad went after the manager, waiter, and Karen from hell. The police were of course called, and charges were pressed against Karen. She was also thrown out of the hotel with her family. I don't feel bad for her husband because he was an idiot too, but I did feel bad for her kids. The 4-year-old girl who was kicked in the face still had a small scar on her nose the last time she came to the hotels. But thank God nothing more, and she didn't seem to be scared to be there. I always took a little extra good care of her after that episode. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to Karen after that with the police and all, but I never saw her again, and thank God for that. Well, pistol time. It's hunting season. I agree. Jesus Christ. I have no words. That was disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting behavior. Get her out of here. And our last story was posted by user Lex the Techie, titled, "Your computer thing doesn't cost that much." What I've got for you here today is a story which was flying around RUNet around a year ago or so, which I'm going to guess is RussianNet? Figures it is originally written in Russian. There we go. But, not to fear my friends, I have a solution. Good day to you all. Today I'll tell you a story which took place around a year and a half ago. Let's get started. I'm 18 years old, living in with my parents, still in school. I have 2 little brothers who live here as well. I'm a big fan of beautiful computer setups. You know, gaming workspaces. Aesthetics of gaming place is as vital to me as a PC's functionality. Can't say I'm a hardcore nerd, but nobody's perfect. I gotta work it again and again till I get it right. I have 1.5 thousand games on Steam, by the way. Weird flex, but okay. PC case, keyboard, mouse, tablet with RGB, even a mouse pad with 1, 2 to 3 screens, yada yada. It's kinda like he's trying to talk to us, but I don't know what language he's talking in. I was dreaming about something of the kind for quite a long time. I spent whole summers working, technically without days off, because all of that gaming mumbo jumbo costs a fortune, and my parents couldn't give me that sum of money. The job was hard and boring, but not that bad, and the pay was good. So I was overcoming myself over and over again. September came. I was in 11th grade and managed to order everything I wanted. I'm not going to read those, it doesn't make any sense to me. That's a long list of gaming mumbo jumbo things. My parents added a bit of money later. Big thanks for that, guys. Well, moment of truth. Everything arrived, and I was extremely excited. I went wet when I was opening the box. The day before that, I went to IKEA and bought a table, gaming chair, lots of LED lights, and wire covers. The whole setup was white, if you wanted the colors. Of course, everyone was thinking that. I unpacked and assembled and turned it on. I was so excited. The guy writing this article then continues to describe his excitement for half a paragraph. For obvious reasons, I didn't allow my younger brothers anywhere near my precious, because literally any peripherals I had before was trashed by them. My parents were in war with me because of that, but I stated that 95% of this PC is earned and bought by me, therefore it is my PC, and if the brothers break anything, they'll never be able to refund it. But my happiness wasn't that long-lived. It was for about a month. Some far relatives came to visit us with 2 kids. One was somewhere around 5 years old, and the other was 10 years old. At that moment, I wasn't home. I'm always happy when we have guests, because that's at least some distraction from my PC. I greeted them, ate with them, listened to some talk, and then went to my room. By the way, when I arrived, I noticed that it was quiet. No kids near the TV or tablet. Strange, I thought to myself. I enter my room. Table, which was diamond clean the whole month of use, was covered in chips, cola, and some other crap like that. But that was flowers. I'd clean it, yet there was seeds. But it was everywhere. Keyboard, mouse, mousepad, headphones. They were on the floor with teared off cable. Some fudging how the monitors are showing Minecraft. I hate that with every bit of me. Oh, it's not that bad. And these 4 brats, my 2 younger brothers and my cousins, were playing it. The PC case had a window with a special lock mechanism, like a door. Well, that door's opened up, and chips are flying around the PC. It had a lot of coolers, so the air was circulating all the time. On the PSU case, there was a half-eaten apple. The LED lights didn't work, and they even managed to put in a Coca-Cola can. The GPU is barely hanging. It's heavy, so I even ordered a special stand for it, which was lying on a bed. The water cooling of the PC, which is expensive as frick, I'm not even sure how they sell it here, disassembled and lying on the floor. No idea how much the CPU managed to not overheat. The seat is covered in stains. I could see that because it's white. And even, fudging more, the seat's ripped. The monitors are covered in oily fingerprints. And one of the brats poked both of the monitors with a sausage every frickin' second. Everything went blank for me. I don't remember yelling at them and making them leave my room. The only thing I do remember is that it was loud, with cussing. I came down on everyone with my screaming. I'm ready to tear apart and choke each one of these 4 brats. Somehow I managed to calm down a bit, and pretty emotionally began explaining what was going on and why it's all important to me. My parents were hugging me as I was explaining to our guests how I wasted all of my summer working hard to save up for all of this. And what I heard from them was, "It can be repaired." I pointed to my headphones that were lying on the floor. By the way, I kept all of the boxes and receipts. They just told me, "Oh, it's all Chinese." I showed them the receipts, boxes, and I see how their eyes go round. The guests, not stated in the original story, was saying all that, and I don't think it's actually necessary, as everything in rubles, $1 American is 65 rubles. 10,000 rubles? You got screwed, boy. We bought headphones for our children for 1,500 rubles. Can you even understand how much those are different from yours? They're like the ground and sky compared to yours. Nah, we don't believe it. Headphones are headphones and that's it. They're all exactly the same. Alright, then look at my computer. At what? Your processor? That got me freaked out. Yes, PC, computer. Processor, if you'll understand it that way. One of them has opened it up, put an apple in there, a Coke can, disassembled the cooler. The graphics card has almost broken the motherboard with its weight. Can you even imagine how much all of that costs? The case is dirty, the glass is scratched. If I look more carefully, I'll find something else. The entitled dad then crosses his hands and says, "How much is that, 3,000 rubles? Somewhere close to $50, he reckons. You won't even buy a cooler for 3,000 rubles. I show him the boxes and the tax receipts. The seat's ripped and covered in stains. The table LED lights don't work. The mousepad and keyboard are burned as well. Your kids were flooding it all with Coca-Cola." The guest says, "Why our kids? Maybe it was your brothers." And I said, "You don't count them. I'll deal with them later." Entitled dad says, "Listen, I'll pay you 5,000 rubles and we forget everything. Why are you so angry about it anyway?" "Well, yeah, you overpaid 5,000 for every part, but it's your problem, you're stupid and don't understand anything." I say, "I pay everything that's in these checks, these receipts. I don't care how or when, just transfer me 5,000 rubles every month, but you're going to pay for it all." I didn't let anyone in this room for a month, and everything was good until your kids show up. If they can't pay for themselves, then you do. The guest goes, "Come on, they're just kids. What happened has happened, and you don't dare talk to them like that. It's your fault if you can't look after your things." I'm nearly screaming here. You do understand that I was working to death every day, all of summer to buy all of this. Then 2 weeks of waiting before it arrives, 12 hours of assembling and making it perfect. I was practically living at work to earn all of that, and your kids destroyed everything in just an hour. Why the frick did you even let them in here? Well, they wanted to play here. So what? Well, they messed it up a bit. They're just curious, and everything's glowing. Get the hell out of my room, and praise God that the most expensive elements are all intact. Thank God almost everything in the PC was intact, in fact, which made me glad. I went to the bathroom to clean the mouse and the keyboard, hoping that they'll work, when I feel something fall and crush. I run into my room and see the PC on the floor. One of the guests' kids accidentally hit it. My world has fallen. I run and choke this frickin' kid. Everyone is here once again. The brat escaped from me and hid behind his mother. I'm now screaming at the top of my lungs, saying, "You'll pay for everything! Do you even know how much you owe me now? You'll be paying it the whole year, 10,000 rubles every month. We owe you nothing. It's your fault you put the processor near the edge. Figures it's gonna fall. Nothing special. We keep our processor on the floor so it doesn't fly like yours." This is when my dad comes in, Dad of the Year, and he goes, "Let's decide something already. All of the summer, my son was coming home dead tired and dirty, and he was falling asleep literally on the floor. My son's dream was destroyed in 2 hours by your kids, and you don't want to pay? It's painful just to look at him, and your kids destroyed it all in a moment. My kids never entered the room as they know it's prohibited to them, which leads us to, your kids did all of that. Screaming, cussing, and I'm sitting on the floor, not hearing or seeing anything. I didn't cry like this even when I broke up with my girlfriend. The last thing I remember is waking up in my room. Everything is cleaned, I suppose by my mum, and all that's left from my PC is on the table. I spent the week trying to assemble it back, but it never worked out. The cooling was ripped, the coolant was nowhere to be found, the motherboard and GPU and case were totaled. The CPU itself is scratched everywhere. At least something's left intact. They never sent the money, and my parents stopped talking to them. I'm writing all of this on my old laptop, because studying is my first priority, and I didn't ask my parents for money. Well, that was quite a long one. Well guys, I hope you guys could actually follow through with that one. I know there's a lot of people that are computer savvy, and understood most of what's going on there. Tell me what you think about it in the comments, and if you're looking forward to the next episode. Just get some more entitled parents out there, hey? Anyway, have a good night or day, and I'll see you later. Bye.